Those retro claims have been hundreds of thousands of dollars when they're running, 30 trucks or something like that. Smaller operators, it might only be a couple of grand, but it's better than a kick in the backside and better in your pocket than on the ATO's table.
So we're here with Shannon Kyle from Teletrac Navman. Shannon, what's your role with Teletrac?
My role, Callum's with a transport solutions specialist with Teletrac Navman. Basically work with our dealers and our transport customers to ensure they get the best bang for buck out of the solution, whether they're using it from a regulatory telematics point of view or just as a proactive risk management tool to improve safety within their organisation.
So you spoke obviously about the regulatory requirements.
Yep.
We had a chat with them a bit earlier, Transport Certification Australia, TCA.
Yes.
It's a world of acronyms, the trucking industry.
It certainly is, yep.
What does that mean to be a registered application service provider with TCA?
So it basically means we've got type-approved hardware that's able to be installed into heavy vehicles and meet the requirements of the National Telematics Framework to open up that higher productivity world to operators, to be able to go to that HML world, maximise productivity and ultimately reduce the amount of truck movements on the road.
Sure. So government's obviously put together a bit of a carrot.
Yep.
You can get your HML, you can get extra access maybe through PBS.
Yes.
But they've given that with a bit of a trade, being TMA or telematics monitoring application.
Yes.
Where does Teletrac come in? What is it you guys do for the customer there to help them meet their compliance?
Basically, we ourselves and our dealer network provide the customers the required hardware they need to meet the requirements of each one of those schemes. For TMA, for example, we issue the certification for that to allow an operator to access that part of the network or access that additional mass. We're really here to help them achieve more out of their business and also protect them. Obviously, the data and the information that's collected, not just narrowed to the TMA sense, but the broader compliance stuff, including EWD, pre-starts, maintenance. It's a complete transport safety solution. It certainly meets that regulatory requirement, but it also enables them to proactively manage transport safety risk. Things that have traditionally been lagging indicators in the industry, checking work diary pages after the fact. Tools like EWD allow us to manage that proactively. So we get alerted as soon as a driver's in breach, rather than finding out a week later when we review the paperwork or do the investigation. So it's really about helping transport operators proactively manage that risk, whether that's mass for the regulatory schemes, access or location for other regulatory requirements. Basically improving the safety of their operation is really what it's all about.
Very good. So you touched on mass there.
Yep.
Now, mass management, obviously getting concessional mass limits, extra load on a general route that you've already got access to.
Yes.
But you can do that in multiple ways. We've been talking with OBM manufacturers. Are there any particular ones that you're approved to work with already?
Yeah, look, there are a number of suppliers that we work with already. All of the information is listed on the TCA website. They have a page there that identifies all of the providers we work with. We do work with guys like Flamenco, Airway, Loadman, Elphinstone, and just recently the certification for Rightway's come through. So we try and work with all of the suppliers. Technology and different suppliers and everyone happen to be able to work with each other. There's some challenges sometimes in that space, and it's something we're always trying to improve on. But we try and work with everyone to give our customers the most flexibility in what they need to do.
So obviously then your system's not just for smart OBM, for meeting notices and meeting permits. They can also play a role in meeting those mass management requirements for
100%, and even down to not even having accreditation or being an NHVAS, obviously we're responsible for managing mass and ensuring that we're compliant on the road. So even if you're just a general mass carrier, that to have the ability to be able to do sample weighs or validate calibration weighs on your equipment, and to be able to record that electronically and have it available should an incident occur. Touch wood it doesn't, but is important whether you're in accreditation, regulatory telematics or not. Those things are important across the board regardless. Our mass management tool enables operators to record all of that stuff that they'd traditionally be doing on a bit of paper, perhaps, for the old NHVAS system, manage it electronically, alert the driver in the cab if he's over mass based on the settings, and also have the ability for an operator to set their own mass configurations in the back end for unique PBS type combinations, and also limit the amount of selections that a driver has so that it's only limited to the vehicles that he operates. It is a tool. It can be used in a number of different ways. It comes down to the operational requirements of the business.
Okay, sure. Well, that's taken care of mass.
Yep.
Obviously, and we're speaking from inspired by accreditation
Yep.
and the National Heavy Vehicle Accreditation Scheme.
Yep.
Maintenance, you guys have an offering in that with Teletrac?
Yeah, certainly. So again, the in-cab device, our MT201, enables an operator to manage all of those key elements of HV&L risk, mass, dimension, load restraint, speed and fatigue, all on the one tablet. Inspections, we have an inspections app that allows customers to develop customised checklists, share them to particular vehicles in the fleet, so we don't have to have the same long checklist including trailer checks for the rigid vehicles. We can share a different checklist to the different parts of the fleet, ensuring the commensurate to the risk in that area. Some may have DG checks, others may not. So we can share different checklists to different parts of the fleet. The fault reporting can be recorded, and again we can customise those answers rather than just please provide details of fault. We can, if it's a safety critical item, it may be please contact the workshop before using the vehicle. So we're able to do those sorts of things. From a load restraint point of view, it's really about having the guidance available to the driver, and we're able to, through our EasyDocs platform, store any number of documents in the cab and have them available to the driver offline. So once they're stored on the device, whether it be permits, mud maps for sites, toolbox talks, whatever it is, that folder that's normally in the truck with pages missing or coffee spilled on it can now be stored electronically in the cab.
Great. And is it simple to use for drivers, the driver application?
Yeah.
Is this it here?
This is it, mate. This is our MT201. It's a fairly simple and user friendly experience. We do have a lot of drivers that do get nervous about it with technology, but the example I always use, there was an older gentleman in Sydney that drives a truck and dog, old Sammy. He's 80 years old, still drives the truck a few days a week, and he was in an absolute panic. He still doesn't use a mobile phone, we've never seen a smartphone, and he uses it day in, day out now. So he's sort of the example I use. Once a driver's used it for a couple of days, it's pretty intuitive, and no one has too much trouble with using it. And of course, it's proactively alerting you of any upcoming breaches or when you've done something wrong. So, from an EWD point of view, or managing fatigue, many drivers who are hesitant at the start would never go back to doing it on paper anymore, just because of the comfort it gives them when they've got to hand it out the window to a regulator. There's no beads of sweat thinking, geez, have I missed something? What have I missed something in a page previous? This will tell you whether you've been in breach or not, and notify you prior to going into breach.
So it'll give you warnings.
30 minutes before, it's going to give you a warning. 15 minutes on violation, it's going to tell you to rest immediately, and you can have an alert set up to go to the ops manager, the scheduler, so they can manage so they can manage that driver compliance. You can even then have alerts set up to go to the ops manager's boss at 30 minutes after, and then maybe even to the general manager at 1 hour. So the system itself can have your escalation process built into the alerting.
Sure. So that's the regulated hours.
Yep.
Supports basic fatigue management, advanced fatigue management.
100%.
From HVAS?
Yep, certainly. BFM. We can have BFM. We are starting to put our first few AFM rule sets into the EWD now. There is a little bit of a process to get AFM across the line. We've got to do some testing, build the rule set. We give it back to the customer. They've got to do a number of weeks of testing, proving that it does work, and then submit that back to the regulator. But yeah, we're just working through that process now. And I think into the future, certainly once HVNL 2.0 gets here, I think that's probably what we'll see is more, there'll be standard and then there'll be AFM. BFM will be a version of an AFM rule set. So yeah, and yeah, we can certainly do all of that electronically.
Teletrac's happy to work with any customers to build that out?
Yep, certainly. More than happy to work with them and do that. I think it's certainly the way of the future. Going electronic, there are a few advantages for a driver. It's minute to minute. It's not the old 15-minute block. So if you pull up at 10:05, you haven't got to wait till 10:30 to be able to put a 15-minute line in the logbook. 10:05 till 10:20 is 15 minutes in an EWD. Again, also, anything above 15 minutes accumulates. So if I've had my 3 20-minute rest breaks through the day, I've had my 1 hour. So that, a couple of those little operational things really do make it advantageous for a driver.
It's a bit smarter than just the written pen log on the page.
100%, yeah. Yeah, it gives you all of that information and the ability to manage those overlapping 14-day periods and 48-hour periods. So to be able to manage those and not have to think about it or count back, and to be able to have this just do the work for you.
Okay, great. So we've covered off on telematics, full service provider there, all levels of assurance.
Yep.
Integrate with plenty of OBM manufacturers for onboard mass.
Yes.
Had approval from NHVR auditors for EWD.
Yep.
Everything there. So you're regulatory, you can provide the full service.
100%. Yep.
What is it that Teletrac can do other
than that?
Than those regulatory compliance things? What's the value add on top of that?
There are a couple of things. As a HVA auditor and compliance manager for both on-road and off-road parties, the compliance tools are the bread and butter, and I think that's the absolute gold. The icing on the cake, there are a number of things. The introduction of our AI camera suite, I think when we look over the last few years, and if you look at the NTI NARDAC report, and the only upward trend is driver distraction. Everything else is on a downward trend, fatigue, speed, in terms of contributing factors to major losses. Driver distraction is the one that's on the way up. So the introduction of AI cameras and the ability to be able to coach drivers and also record, what is going on in the cab, I think is really the next thing. So that's a big push for us and something we believe is, what's needed it's that last stone that's been left unturned in terms of our race towards Vision Zero and trying to reduce all preventable MVAs. So that's certainly one. One of the other ones that I think is maybe the cherry on top is our FTC manager. So fuel tax credits is often can be a challenge for businesses, and it can be hard. Sometimes you're overclaiming, sometimes you're underclaiming. More than often than not, people are leaving money on the table. What our system does, it allows you to make your claims based on your GPS tracking data and your second-by-second calculation of on- and off-road usage. So it's going to maximise that off-road claim. And I think the excise changed in the last budget. We're actually going to do one of our TAP sessions, we call them, our Transport Advisory Panel. We do a monthly session. We're going to do it on FTC next month, coming up to tax time. I think it'll be pertinent. But yeah, it enables you to maximise those claims, and also, which has got class ruling on the data and on the report from the ATO, so they're never going to come and audit you. There is class rulings in place for the product, and it also enables you to do that retrospective claim. So you can go back 4 years and collect all the money you left on the table based on that 3-month sample of data of your average operation. So that's one that I think, especially larger businesses, some of those retro claims have been hundreds of thousands of dollars when they're running, 30 trucks or something like that. Smaller operators, it might only be a couple of grand, but it's better than a kick in the backside and better in your pocket than on the ATO's table. So that's one of the ones that's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse in terms of transport compliance, but I think it's an absolute gold nugget for operators. You've invested in the technology to achieve that safety outcome, hopefully. That's just helping you pay for it, and it manages that ongoing claim. Hopefully, you're upping that claim for every vehicle every month. So yeah. That's look, there are a couple of the things that I think are probably the critical value adds. And we also have a team that can integrate with other software packages from a jobs management point of view. So there's some TMSs we integrate with. There's a lot of flexibility in the solution we provide, and it's not one size fits all. It's a tool that can be used in many different ways depending on your size and scope of the organisation.
I was going to ask about that. I know a couple of companies in the industry will provide a bit more of a bespoke solution to those out there who need different, maybe a bit out of left field telematics or monitoring.
Yep.
Teletrac's happy to go down that road?
Look, we can. It's being a global organisation. It's sometimes you've got to, running the change request up the flagpole can be difficult if it's completely unique to a particular business. But look, anything that's got value as a change to a solution that's going to benefit industry, that's something I'm championing and trying to make that change. But the system itself allows a heap of customisation. So operators get to manage the back end, add drivers, users as they see fit. They can upload all of these documents, manage their checklists. They can create geofences in the system, and this device will speak to the driver as they enter the geofence. So it might be approaching the heavy vehicle checking station. We geofence the highway. As the driver drives through, he gets a reminder, you're now approaching the heavy vehicle checking station, please enter unless directed otherwise. And you can customise that text. It might be a high-risk speed zone that you want to geofence the top of the hill and say, reminder, high-risk speed zone, please ensure you back off before you go over the crest. Some guys put some more colourful terminology in there for the reminders for the drivers, but all in all, that those types of tools are totally customisable, and each operator gets to use the tool as they see fit. Yeah.
Awesome. And Shannon, as a final question, it's very controversial.
Right.
So I understand if you've got to ask upper management before you answer it. Asking it of everyone at the truck show.
Yep.
Just your opinion. What is a road train?
A road train? Well, that's the traditional old school, anything that was an A double, basically, like anything that was a two-trailer combination with a dolly is, back in my day, that was a road train. We had doubles, triples, back when I was a young fella unloading pipeline in Roxbury Downs, that's what we unloaded, double or triple road trains, that's what we called them. There's a lot of other, I think getting the terminology right now, and I've got to always get the chart out and remind myself, is that an A coupling, a B coupling, and try and figure it out, the alphabet soup of AB triples or BABs and all of that sort of stuff. But to me, an old school terminology, it's a sort of a double, basically, two-trailer thing. What's been the response elsewhere?
Look, it depends on if it's government and they're following the line of the law, or if it's anyone else, really. Yeah. And there's competing opinions as to whether a double classifies as a road train. Do we need a triple before we're a road train? Yeah.
Well, we always had double and triple road trains. You know what I mean? You could always, was it west of? You could hook up the double west of at Dubbo, but I don't think you could hook up a trip cable back in the day. Maybe you can now, but yeah, there was. They were still road trains, you know what I mean? If someone had to run out from, load one, drive it out to Dubbo, come in, get the next, well, that was a road train going to unload a load of pipe back in my day, but if they had to, I suppose, that with the access and the PBS vehicles and all of the stuff we've got now, that's probably changed a bit. And it probably is something that could be reviewed.
I think we'll still be reviewing it come Truck Show 2025.
I reckon you're probably onto something there. Yep. Yeah.
Shannon, thanks for sitting down with Tag.
No worries.
Talk to you soon.
Enjoyed.